All right. We're back. It's Carl Wolfgang Schultz here at carlwschultz.com. And today we're going to be talking about Marine Corps Wars, Unveiling, Untold Stories of Courage. So this is a really interesting, personal story. This is about the Marine Corps and how it has changed my life, how I've looked at life a lot differently, and the reputation that the Marines have. And we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the Marines, what I learned in boot camp. I'm going to offer some places, some affiliate links I'm going to put in the description that are related to people possibly in transition of getting out of the military, but it's not what you think. It's more like for entrepreneurial type of things where these are the websites that I would recommend that if you could pick one to get started and like start your own business, like kind of like gearing you in the right direction, maybe thinking in the right way. And then I'm going to include a link to the article so that you can go through and look at that. And then while I'm talking, I'm going to be going through the article and just kind of pointing things out. Full disclosure, the article was created by ChatGPT or something similar, so it's not like verbatim what I'm saying, but that's why I do these podcasts, so I can kind of go over with you, save you some time if you don't have time to read the article. So let's dive into it. This is going to be a little lengthy, not too bad. So again, my name is Carl Schultz. I think I joined the boot camp in 2009, and I got out in 2013. I did a tour in Afghanistan. I've been to Japan. I've seen combat. I've seen a lot of Marines, different kinds, all walks of life. I wish I could put it all in this episode, and I'll do the best I can. But what I would like to also focus on is helping people that are transitioning. I understand that there's a lot of people that are in the Marines currently who were that have various issues that they're struggling with, such as, PTSD, which I had a huge issue with. And then there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's like ways of coping that are a lot healthier. And a lot of times we're not taught that in the military or whatever. We're all trying to figure it out. So I'll give you some insight into what worked for me. So again, I joined in 2009, started the journey, I was a West Coast Marine. I did very well in boot camp. I wasn't the biggest guy. There was even, there was bigger people that were squad leaders and stuff like that. And we got introduced into the military, right? We got introduced into the Marines, step into the footprints, and we were able to, we just had to adapt. Right, and we learned really quickly to say yes or no, sir, type of thing, or yes or no, ma'am. And that was sort of the first initial shock. Then I got into, I think it was like Camp Pendleton. Again, I always preach this, but my memory isn't that great. I don't even really remember like what unit I was in. I try to forget. I don't know what my issue is, but this is me coping with things like later on in life. But so I was after boot camp, you go into like a different kind of training, and this different kind of training involves like hiking through mountains, and where you start really learning like how to throw grenades. You start learning for me, how I looked at it was they're getting you in the mindset of going to war. And it was like at that point, this was before I went into my actual occupation, which was aviation supply in the Marines. And so I never thought that I was going to go to war, right? I was there, aviation supply, and I was like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm not a grunt, right? And I was like genuinely concerned that I'd be going to war, and that's why I picked that occupation, because I just wanted to be a Marine, but I didn't want to go to war. Anyway, I think we can all see where that's going. So needless to say, I graduated boot camp. I wasn't without it. Graduated boot camp. I graduated that second level of training, and then I went into my occupation. And I think it was about like a year, or there was school in between that too. There was aviation school, which was totally different. It was like a little break before we actually started getting deep into our careers. And then so after school, I went to Japan, and I lived there for like 2 years or something like that. And that's when I started getting good at my job, and then I was selected from more than a handful of Marines to go to Afghanistan. And it was in Japan that I started developing my training. I started becoming fine-tuning a lot of things, like skills in the forest, skills in the mountains. I was able to call for fire, and I started getting very, very much into like kicking doors, repairing machine guns faster and faster, learning to communicate with squad leaders. And that was at that point where I started calling officers almost by their first name, but don't get it twisted. Like I would never like do that, but I was able to communicate with officers on a different level, a more human level, because we wanted to come home. And so the dynamic changed. I started, so backing up a little bit, when I was in Japan, I was told I was going to be selected to go to Afghanistan. And then I started doing the training in Japan. And that's when we started going over the like Humvee training. Like, what do you do if there's IEDs? And we started getting like deep into that stuff. So as you can see, it's kind of building up a little bit, but that's basically when I knew that I need to be ready to go to war. And it's hard for me to talk about because I was very scared. I was only like 22 years old or something. So what happened next was, we got done with our training, and I'm just staring at the guys next to me. These are the same people that we're going to war with. And we got off the C-130. We're going into Afghanistan. We get off the plane, and that's when it kind of hit me. Like that we got rocketed every single day. And so, yeah, I'll back up a little bit, but because I want to keep this related to the actual wars as well. But while I was in Japan, I seen where the Marines held up the flag. You see that iconic image of like 4 or 5 Marines or something like that holding up a flag on a mountain. Well, that I've been there. They took me there as a lesson, or like as a training to learn like how to fight when you storm the beaches, just like the Marines do. So I got to see like the tunnels of the Japanese, and I've seen a lot. And I grew up pretty quickly. I'm so grateful that I wasn't in that war, but hats off and thank you for your service for the people who were in that war or were affected by that. There's a lot of kind of looking at the wars on the article. So I was in Afghanistan. That was from 2001 to present. Before that, there was the Gulf War. Before that was the Vietnam War. Before that was the Korean War. Before that was World War II, then World War I, then the Civil War, Mexican War, War of 1812, American Revolution. These are all the wars that the Marines apparently were fought in. If there's some inaccuracies, because the ChatGPT did it, but this is what's pulling up. So I don't, you have to forgive me, but I could look it up, but the war where they held up the flag, I want to say that was World War II. Iwo Jima right there, yeah. Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima. So I know there's people out there that know history better than me. I'm fully aware of that. But yeah, so I seen it. I saw how people were, people made it, people didn't make it, and so I got to see. So anyway, fast forward, I'm in Afghanistan, and I'm there, and I'm around people who are very aware that what's going on is, there's a battle going on. I've seen what it's like on the other side of the gates, believe it or not, and I've seen the trucks with the guns on them. I've been shot at, I've been rocketed at, I've been kind of set up a little bit as a decoy, and yeah, I had my rifle with me the whole time, fully prepared. I knew pretty quickly that people respected the Marines when I was out there. Again, I'm not a big guy, but because I had the Marine Corps uniform, I did get a lot of respect. I mean, we held ourselves to a very high standard, and I think people respected that. Of course I have fun. Of course I'm a human. You'll see me sometimes on stage singing and dancing on that base. In Afghanistan, I think it was Kandahar that I was at. So I was next to like Bahrain and whatnot. But yeah, it was an experience. So I had my fun, but I also was very, very scared. When the night falls, you can see the tracer rounds, you can see the helicopters, the planes. It's a war zone. And I'm just, I'm very grateful that I am here. I want to say that. but it was very scary, especially the first initial response was when they told me that the enemy's coming and we need to stand and fight. 22 years old, or 23, somewhere in there. Dude, I was frightened, and I didn't know. And I've had tanks almost shoot me, friendly fire. I've had we had partnered with like other countries and stuff, so I got to see. I think the Chinese were there. Don't quote me on that, but there was some other people there that, like, when they saw me, even like these foreign countries were like, stay away from that guy. The Marines are crazy, So like I got that little bit of breathing room, but it was very frightening. And so, all right, so I don't want to go like too much in detail because that's between me and my therapist, but I'll just say that the Marine Corps did prepare me because I was fully ready, especially with my training and stuff like that. I was ready to go to war, and I did, and I made it back, and I'm super grateful. I got my PTSD. I'm definitely thinking about things all the time. I'm always paranoid. But I learned to work with it, and that's what I'm here for you guys. Anybody going through that stuff is, there is help. There's lots of help. I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I made it through a lot of addictions, and I'm still here today to encourage you to keep fighting. I have lost people to suicide. I was almost suicidal myself. But by the grace of God, I made it through, and you can probably hear by the tone of my voice that I'm grateful to be here. But it wasn't with the help of other people and getting help. So that's sort of that. What do I want to say? So transitioning when you get out, here's kind of, well, do I want to continue talking about how Marines are vicious fighters, or they want to go in training? Maybe we'll save that for another one. I think this is more important to talk about. We did what we had to do. Now we're getting out of the military. Let's focus on healthy habits. Let's focus on maybe working for ourselves. Make sure we have a purpose when we get out, right? And so that's why I put some affiliate links. I also put a link to the article, like I said. But these are things that you can start getting going. I did a lot of this before I got out. I was always active on the computer when I was in garrison. But I see here that I put a link to Zazzle. Zazzle is a place where you can go if you want to buy some Marine Corps memorabilia, some military shirts, or anything like that. Like Zazzle, you just search for it. But the link there, I'll get a commission off of anything you buy or whatever. I'd appreciate it. And then the other one is Equid. So Equid is an e-commerce store that you can start your own shop. I choose Equid because it is just a really cool website. I think it's like $20, maybe a little bit more a month. But you can start like shipping things out. You can have your own website if that's the direction that you want to go. The other one that I have related to that is Poshmark. Poshmark is where there's like an actual marketplace. Equa doesn't have a marketplace where you can resell used things. But I'm getting you into the direction of like working for yourself. And e-commerce or packaging things up and selling them was what I started out as. Now I'm on to print on demand. I've gained a lot of skills. I understand what the customer wants. And so I'm moving quickly along my journey, but for people who don't know much, I would say Poshmark is a great place to start, and I put that link in there. I think I get like $10 for everyone who signs up as a seller. Equid, I think I get a lot for Equid. So if you sign up for Equid and you're serious about e-commerce, that'd be cool. I'll make, a good commission. Sometimes there's incentives like where you can get something off of your subscription. Anyway, I have a link to the article. And so the last link that I have here is Airtable. I think I also get I do actually get a commission off Airtable. I think it's called more of a credit. And Airtable is something I want to focus on real quick before we come to an end. But Airtable is what I would start before you get out of the service, or if you're already out. And why I'm saying that is because Airtable is a database that has allowed me to organize my thoughts, whether it's traumas, whether it's starting your business, coming up with different things. You need to start writing things down. And I can't think of a better way other than journaling, than to have a database. And databases allow you to quantify things and measure things. You need to keep your mind busy before you get out, right? You need to stay focused. You need to have a plan. Do not get lazy. Yeah, you can get a job and stuff like that, but what I always try to steer people to do is work for themselves. We're living in a very creative economy now. There should be no reason why you're applying for work. So anyway, sorry, a little pop-up came up. But yeah, I would definitely focus on getting something set up before you get out. Yeah, you'll probably get like disability and stuff, but I always advise people to work for themselves. But even if you don't, a database can allow you to measure your work that you have at your job, like what's going on. Keep track of what's going on in your daily life. And so that's why I always push Airtable. I don't get a huge commission, but I always push Airtable because I want people to have a start analyzing their day, start analyzing their business. You can build anything with Airtable. You can, I don't know, I have my contacts in there. I'm able to keep track of all my contacts. You don't want to do it on your phone. You want to have like a piece of software, and it's only like $25 a month, but it's amazing. And Airtable's awesome. You could use Excel if that's a free way of doing it too, but Airtable's an actual database where you can go in and really put in some fields and sort things a lot faster. So, but yeah, you know, you guys, I understand like what you're going through. I know you may say that I don't, as far as like whether it's a tour or deployment, but I want you to know that I understand. I had gone through hours and hours of meetings with my VA therapists. I've been through the ringer. I've seen a lot. I've had to overcome addictions. I've had to get through suicide. I almost, did that, and I'm just very grateful to be here. But the only reason I'm here is because I was able to ask for help. I said, hey, I'm not thinking right. Something's going on in my head. I don't want to be like this anymore. That I was on medication. I learned through the whole process through the VA that I have ADHD, I have autism, I have PTSD. Like, believe me, you can see what I'm doing with this podcast, that I'm staying busy, I'm focused, I'm hustling, and I'm trying to make something for myself, and I'm entrepreneurial. So like, I got a lot on my plate, but I'm staying busy. I know what's good for me, and I encourage you to not get complacent when you get out. Just like the Marines tell you, don't get complacent, stay on top, and continue working out, that sort of thing. The best thing I found was keeping your mind and hands busy, in the most productive way possible. So I'm here for you guys. I may not always be able to get to the comments, but I can assure you I'm thinking about you, trying to put forward the best, most relevant content that'll help people. I genuinely care. All right, let's come to an end. Click on those links if you find them valuable. I would encourage you to click on the link that's related to the article. Stay updated with the future episodes. They'll be coming out. Yeah, here to help you. Have a good day.